Welcome to the Wilshire Gun Podcast.
Well, boys and girls, we're already halfway. It is June. It's time for the June podcast. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so starting with sales stuff, we'll get through it quick. However, there are some bangers on here this month, so be on the lookout for these. I got an HK45 match on special pricing. I got MP22s, 416-22s, and a couple HK USPs. There's either one or two. So if you've ever wanted to leave your inner Call of Duty, now's the time to do it. Special pricing on some of the older range guns that we have down there in the used cabinet. Those are big. There is an AR-22 bundle. Basically, you get to save when you buy ammo, dot, sling, case, or sling or case. So you leave with like a little package. You're going to save money doing it. Our rifle of the month on sale is the FN15 Military Collector M4. I don't have it up here with me, but any of you GWAT guys will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say military M4. It is exactly how they came out of the box to the armed forces. It is an FN contract gun, basically identical. The only thing is it doesn't go all the way around on the switch. So if you've ever wanted to, relive the glory days, build your gun back, that is a perfect platform to do it. They are fantastic guns. I actually own one. They are fantastic guns outright, just as a gun. It's just kind of cool that they're also correct for prior service guys. Pistol of the month is the TISA 2011. So TISA, we've featured TISA on a couple different things. Cheaper 2011 platform, still a solid platform. A lot of guys have been getting into them. They're definitely worth coming and looking at the sale price on those. Couple SIG rifles we're featuring this month. The SIG 716, so big caliber, big bore gun. Come check those out. There are multiple SIG pistol that are being highlighted this month. However, there's one I'm really kind of excited about. We got the M11A1, the MPX, and the new one, the M17X, which again it's a 320 platform. However, it is built to contract specifications for naval special warfare. It is a SEAL basically gun out of the box. It comes with the Romeo optic on it already. It comes out of the box how they would get it. So kind of a cool deal that, the cool guy SEALs, they tweaked the 320. We're making all these modifications to them, buying different grip modules, doing different stuff. And SIG came back over the top and said, hey, we'll just build it for you. And they did that. And so come check those out. The M17X, they're pretty slick. Gun sales, or gun case sale, 5% off any marked gun case. So come check, like if you need a case, come save a little bit on those. Then the big one for June, Father's Day is in June. We're doing a Father's Day membership raffle. Essentially, if you sign your dad up for a membership, or if your dad comes and signs up for a membership, he's going to be entered into a raffle to win a Camp Chef grill. And these are like $500 or $600 grills. These are not cheap grills. They're pellet grills. We're going to have one set up down on the sales floor. You're going to be able to see it, mess with it. Unfortunately, we can't light it, but at least you'll see what you're playing for. So winner for that will be drawn on June 23rd. So don't have all month on that one, but if you've been considering a membership, this month would definitely be the one to do it. That'll be downstairs. The guys downstairs will be able to get you taken care of. Maybe you want a grill, a nice grill. Like this is not a grill for the faint of heart. As always, the sales begin on the 1st. So you're either seeing this on the 1st or shortly thereafter. If you purchase a firearm from us, you get free range time and or private lesson. So make sure you know how to run it. And I think that kind of covers it. All right. Boom. That's done. Training stuff. Training's up on the calendar already. It's been up. You guys have already been signing up for June because I filmed these before June, but that doesn't matter. All the good stuff's there. So make sure you get signed up for training. WilshireGun.com/training. I highly recommend checking out the defensive carbine course. I went and took a look at it the other day. It is awesome course. It's not something we've done a lot. Like I said, it's one of our newer courses. But with a lot of people owning rifles now, it is definitely a good course to go through. It's only a couple hours. It's not super expensive. Round count is moderate. So, and you will leave better than you show up. So that is a good one for that. I think that covers pretty much everything. Obviously, preemptive. I did it for the moms. I'm going to do it for the dads. Thank you. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers and soon to be fathers, grandfathers, all those guys that, make life go. Thank you guys. It's awesome. Okay. Now into podcast part. The podcast of the podcast part. That'll work. Last month we talked about have a why for your what, or a what for your why, or whatever order I rambled it in. This month we're going to talk a little bit more about specialized equipment, namely being night vision. And the reason I wanted to do night vision specifically is I have night vision on the brain. We're about to run our night vision shoot for the month. However, coming into summer, it's a lot easier to spend time outside once the sun goes down. It's nicer. The weather's nicer, and you can enjoy and engage with your night vision more. When we got into the night vision game several years ago, I was going to say 2, but it's closer to almost 4. We realized there is a very large lack of information for night vision on the surface. There is a lot of information for night vision if you know where to look. However, if you just Google night vision, it gets real squirrely. And it has gotten better over the last probably even 4 years. It has gotten exponentially better. Companies have popped up. Other companies have become more prominent. More people have gotten into it. So it is more abundant. However, without going through a 10-hour course of understanding it, we were making jokes earlier. It's one of those, like, if I told you my time machine runs on 1.21 gigawatts, if you don't know what a gigawatt is, that doesn't matter, right? That is irrelevant information. So what I've done is, a lot of you guys don't seem to know this, I do run an intro to night vision course that's by appointment that you can find on the website under WilshireGun.com/training, intro to night vision. If you would fill those out, we can do the full course, just saying. But I took some of the slides out of my intro to night vision class, which it takes about 3 hours to go through that whole class. And that is an extremely comprehensive, basically introduction and buying course on what you're after. I took, out of like the probably 40 something slides that are in that class, I took like 4. And it's some of the regular information. My phone's ringing. Give me a second. Did you guys see that hard cut? Because my phone rang. Yeah, I'm not a one take Tony. No. Anyway, so what I was saying, if you're not familiar with the information, I can tell you, I can spew information at you until you're blue in the face, but if you don't understand what you're listening to, it might as well be a foreign language, right? So what I've done is I pulled some slides out of the class that we do, which is the Intro to Night Vision. It is a comprehensive night vision class and purchasing guide kind of deal. That class is about 3 hours. There are about 40 slides in that class. There's a lot of information in that class. You can find it at wilshiregun.com/training under Intro to Night Vision. But I've taken, about 4 or 5 of those slides and some of the more relevant information. And this is what I'm going to call Jake's 15 minutes of night vision information that will at least get you running in the right direction. It's a pretty serious acronym. But let's get into it. So first slide, usually pretty early in the class. To understand how night vision works, you have to understand how light works. And again, this is because I'm doing this in 15 minutes. We're not going to get super into this. However, maybe I can get our guys to put this up on the screen. I'm not exactly sure. But if you look at that, there's a spectrum of light, blah, 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 what we can actually see, and what is called near IR. Near IR is where night vision operates. Basically right outside the spectrum of light that you can see. Fun fact about that, you can pause the video on it if you really wanted to take a look at the little thing. Or you can just Google the light spectrum and you'll see where the visible spectrum is, and then the IR spectrum, which is where night vision operates. It doesn't operate in the entirety of the IR spectrum, or different night vision operates in different parts of the IR spectrum. Again, really irrelevant, but understanding that night vision operates basically right outside perceptible light to the human eye. That's important. Night vision uses. When most people think of night vision, right, they think of Zero Dark 30 or video games or anything like that. It's all basically 99% military application and operational capability of night vision, right? A lot of guys in the gun world think about night vision because, again, the cool guys wear it, the regular guys wear it, but you almost only see it portrayed in media and other things like that in its military application. It does have other applications to it. Obviously, it is a huge advantage to be able to see in the dark when somebody else cannot. But there are a lot of uses for it outside, combat situations and or military applications. Some of those include search and rescue. This is one of those deals that I have this, and it's not something I really ever think about. But if the situation ever arose that I needed to be able to act in a disastrous environment, say, being in Oklahoma, a tornado or something like that, and we're, looking through rubble or different stuff like that, the power is out, that can be a pretty large advantage. Piggyback on that, thermal's really good for that too. So hunting applications. There are several varmints and other game you can hunt under night vision. Now, due to Oklahoma law, blah, 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 you got to jump through some hoops to shoot at dark. But you can predator hunting, hog hunting, game calling. Like there's some different applications there that you can do with that. And again, that's another one of those that pairs with thermal really well. But night vision, good use for that. General surveillance stuff. If you're security, if you do security work, if you're, uh, just like even surveillance of like property. If you're moving around on a large piece of property at night, it's pretty good. It's pretty handy to have. Listed on here is obviously self protection, home protection, and civil unrest kind of stuff. Without getting too far into the weeds, the best way to survive a gunfight is to not get in a gunfight, and being able to move around potential threats or other stuff like that is extremely advantageous. That kind of falls back into military operation, right? They do that because it's advantageous, which leads into that next dot of threat prevention and threat avoidance. If I don't have to mess with something, if I can see them before they see me, then that's awesome. Low profile driving with IR lights. If you're needing to travel in a low profile, basically mode or setting, driving under night vision is possible. Analog night vision. I would not suggest driving under digital night vision. Technology is just not there yet. But analog is basically a one-to-one of what is actually happening. There is no delay. So driving, you can drive. Takes a little getting used to, but it is possible. The other one that's not actually on here as an official, use or is just for fun. Hiking. A lot of guys walk their dogs under night vision just because it's cool. And one of the neatest things, if you've never looked under night vision, is looking up into the night sky for the first time. Because while you may see 1,000 stars with the naked eye, you'll see 100,000 stars under night vision. Because it picks up all that low ambient light that they're putting off, is that you're able to see them. And so the night sky becomes 1,000 times more vibrant. It's really cool to see, and it's just fun. It's the only superpower you can purchase. So excellent deal there. What makes a unit, right? Understanding pricing. So there are. I'd say this is part one, where people get confused on when they Google night vision, and there will be night vision that shows up. But what is good and what is not? How do you know? So, what is really important when looking at night vision? The tube quality, which is the internal component that makes night vision, and the type, white phosphor versus green phosphor, what generation, who manufactured it, that kind of stuff. The housing that the night vision is in, those have price differences. Newer model housing is going to cost more than older model housing. Who is the builder of the unit? There are several prominent night vision manufacturers, more so now, but you want to make sure you're buying from a well-known dealer and not Ray's night vision emporium that's run out of a 1982 Crown Vic. Just, that's one of those deals. Now, this is one of those like industry kind of fun notes, is night vision is expensive. There is no way to get around that. Night vision is expensive, and most dealers are going to be relatively comparable in cost because of the margins on night visions from the actual manufacturers of night vision. There is basically zero margin in night vision. I carry a limited selection of night vision, but there is not a lot of margin on it. That's why you don't ever really see me put it on sale. Like analog night vision is because I'm almost selling it at what I bought it for. Um, but like I said, it's an expensive entry. Um, However, if it's not as important as paying your bills. Pay your bills first. But if you have, disposable income or you've been saving for something cool, it would definitely make a great addition to stuff you keep at home. Um, it's a tool that can be used for a myriad of different things. Uh, so take that with what it is. Now, one thing that I kind of interface in between that slide and this slide are almost right next to each other in the actual class. However, um, one thing I like to preface is night vision is sold by night vision companies, and a lot of the night vision is branded as their stuff. So like you'll see TNVC or you'll see Steel or you'll see Heat up in Tulsa, which are where mine are from. Or you buy it from me, which mine are TNVC built units. However, TNVC is not building the actual night vision components. They are assembling night vision components and then putting their brand on it. So when you are purchasing night vision, the two things that really go into it, which I've already kind of mentioned, are the tubes and the housing. And so instead of thinking of like buying a Ford truck or a Chevy truck or a Dodge or whatever, a better way to look at it is I am buying a Ford truck body with a Dodge engine or a Chevy, set of wheels on a Ford engine or however you want to do it, right? Because different components are manufactured at the base level by different people, and then they are all thrown together and then named something. So like PVS 14, which is a monocle device, which is some of the most common night vision. That's when you see PVS 14, nobody makes like PVS 14. They make the tubes and they make a PVS 14 housing. And then that comes together to build a PVS 14. And so that is one of those deals that, like, if you Google it, there are brands that come up like ATM and other stuff like that you'll see on Optics Planet or other Amazon or different stuff. Don't buy that stuff. That is basically comm block gut, older generation night vision that basically got thrown off the assembly line and, packaged. Somebody bought it up somewhere overseas. It is significantly cheaper, but it is also significantly crappier. So that is one of those deals. We're about to go over manufacturers and stuff like that, which will help with this. But like the stuff that just pops up that's like $3,300 for these ATM whatevers, don't buy those. Find a reputable manufacturer. So manufacturers. When I say manufacturers, I'm not talking about resellers or builders. I'm talking about the companies that actually manufacture tubes. So the tube, like I said, is the part in the night vision that does all the space magic that makes night into day. The king of the castle is L3 Harris. They are the same guys that, L3 is who manufactures EOTechs, but same big company. Without going too much into the history, they are basically king of the castle. They are your nicest tube specs, the L3 Harris tubes. A lot of times they'll be referred to as just L3 tubes. Your next step will be Elbit, which those might be a little bit hard to get right now. I'm not exactly sure on what geopolitics is doing to it, but they are an Israeli company that purchased basically a section, again, without going too much into the business side, They purchased some stuff off Harris, started manufacturing night vision under that. Both L3 and Elbit have military contracts with the U.S. So there are both Photonis, or correct, no, I'm sorry, not Photonis, Elbit and L3 tubes in service with the U.S. military. And then the last one, which is your third step, which will be the cheapest, is Photonis. So Photonis is an international company, which I just told you don't buy international stuff. These are the guys you want to buy if you're going to buy this kind of stuff, is Photonis. So what? Like I said, there's so much information. This is why this class is 3 hours. ITAR, export, can't do it. Gen 3, American made, blah, blah, blah. So European guys are basically relegated to Gen 2 night vision because Gen 3 can't be exported without special approval and other stuff like that. So the civilian market and the international market is mostly working with Gen 2 and what they call Gen 2 Plus. Essentially, they have taken the Gen 2 technology and pushed it as far as they can go to be comparable with a low-end Gen 3. That is where Photonis operates. Basically, it is a really high end Gen 2 device. They are not as good as a Gen 3 on the upper end, but like I said, they can compete down there with the lower end Gen 3 stuff. And they are significantly cheaper. So that is a good way to look at that. So those are some of the primary tube suppliers that you're going to be looking for. L3 Harris, Elbit, and Photonis. Those are the three you're after. I have a set right here that I can grab here. And so this is kind of what I'm talking about, right? Like I pull these out. There are no names, there are no markings on any of these, right? It's just what looks like a set of night vision, right? The only thing that it actually does say is DTNVS. That is the housing model for this, right? Basically, the housing is the chassis that the tubes go into. DTNVS is made by Acton Black. I actually don't, there's probably still manufacturing the DTNVSs, but there have been some others that have come along that have kind of superseded them as most desirable housing. But this is what I was saying. These DTNVSs, or PVS 14, or PVS 31 is not a good one because that's completely goes against everything I told you. PVS 1531s. That is a housing. All of that, basically, this housing acts as truck body, right? This set has L3 tubes in it. The L3 tubes can be pulled out of this, and Elbit tubes could be put in them, or even Photonis tubes could be put in them. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at, where you take the tube and put it into the housing you want, right? All three of them will still be called DTNVSs to, like, on the internet and other stuff like that when you're looking to buy it, but the guts are different. And so that's what's important in night vision, right? So just general night vision. It's more put it all together and then purchase, not buy a complete pre-manufactured, Optics Planet deal that's hot garbage. Okay. So now we're going to get into basically I'm going to rapid fire these off at you. These are some of the spec sheet basically points and what they actually mean. So you'll see a lot of guys, or a lot of the manufacturers will post some specifications. They can't post all of them. Again, laws are weird. However, this will at least get you in the ballpark of what you're after, and you'll have the buzzwords to Google and look at. The biggest one you're going to hear is FOM. FOM. It stands for figure of merit, and essentially what it is the resolution multiplied by the signal to noise ratio. There's your 1.21 gigawatts, right? Like, you have no idea what a signal to noise ratio is. However, what I will tell you is a lot of guys, they'll use that FOM of how good is a tube, right? FOM, higher the FOM number equals the better the tube. And for like 80% solution, that is correct. If you really want to dive into the weeds, FOM can be misleading. However, generally, if you buy a higher FOM unit, it will be higher quality, and or air quotes better. So let's keep going. So SNR, side note, I say let's keep going. SNR matters in certain ratios, right? So your SNR to your resolution. One of the first ones is photocathode sensitivity. Basically, it's how efficiently can night vision convert light into energy. EBI is another one, which is how precise of an image in low light does it produce. And then we get into halo, which is bloom. Like, if you've ever been driving in the rain or you have an astigmatism, you are very familiar with bloom. It's basically that, how bad is the bloom. Backtracking photocathode sensitivity, you're looking for 2200 plus. 2200 plus. EBI, 0.4 is good. Anything lower than 0.4 is winning. At 2.0, it starts to get a little rough. Gain. It's just like gain on anything else. How well it amplifies light, brightness, different stuff like that. Signal to noise ratio, SNR. So essentially what that is, through all the science, it's producing an image on a cathode phosphor screen. If there's no light, night vision doesn't work. If you went to absolute zero pitch blackness, no ambient light, like deepest, darkest part of a cave you could find, and there's no light, night vision has nothing to amplify, therefore it can't do anything, right? You can't see in absolute darkness with night vision. The way night vision works is it takes existing ambient light around you and amplifies it, both in the visible and the near IR spectrums. So the SNR is when there is less light, how good is it? How good is it at guessing correctly? If it is not very good at it, your image will appear staticky. Like if you turned on an old school TV to channel 3 and nothing was hooked up to it, you're going to see static. That's kind of what it looks like. The better the SNR, the less that static is, and the closer you're going to be to the actual image you're going to see, right? And then resolution, which SNR and resolution make up FOM. Resolution is line pairs per millimeter. Really what you're going to see is a lot of 64s and a lot of 72s. 64 line pairs per millimeter and 72 line pairs per millimeter. So I mean, it's the same idea as like a resolution on your TV, right? It's the same idea. It's not actually the same. There's different. It's not pixels. There's no pixels in night vision. However, the idea is the same. Now, what I will say about that is the difference between 64 and 72 resolution, unless you have absolutely perfect or better than perfect vision, it is really hard to tell the difference. I've literally stood right over there in that door and looked through 64s and 72s like this. And it's like one of those, unless you like really, really look for it, you're going to have a hard time hard time telling the difference. And that's why FOM is kind of deceptive, because you can have a lower resolution and a higher SNR, or a lower SNR and a higher resolution, and get close to the same number, right? And so you have to find what actually works and what you're willing to deal with. So that is a lot of the buzzwords and other stuff like that. So last but not least, let's get into the actual physical device and how I've already kind of touched on a little bit of how do these actual devices work and why they're so cool, right? When I say analog, what do I mean? What I mean is there is no digital equipment in here. Everything is analog. The same way like a camera would be analog, right? When it was producing images onto actual film. It's kind of the same idea. So light is taken in, even if you can't see it with your naked eyes. It's taken in. It hits different components in the night vision that I'm not going to go through and explain and name. Essentially converts light protons into electrons. The electrons then are multiplied through science to about 1,000 times as many. So for every one electron, it makes 1,000 more. Those electrons are then smacked into a phosphor screen, which then lights and produces protons again. So you're taking protons, converting them into electrons, multiplying the electrons, smacking them into a screen, which then produces photons at a 1-to-1 ratio, or close to 1-to-1 ratio, producing an image that your eye can then perceive, right? So protons into electrons, more electrons, back into protons, eyeball sees them, right? And that's all through basically the power of a single 123 battery for this model. Some run on AA's, battery packs, different stuff like that. But it's all analog, and that's a very basic method of how they work, right? So check them out. Well, guys, as always, thank you for watching. I know these can get pretty rambly. If you want to learn more about night vision, come by, talk to the guys downstairs. They can help you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come sign up for membership, win a grill. Come check out night vision. Come talk to us. Sign up for one of the night vision shoots. As always, I can't wait to see you.